hit the link at the bottom of the screen to check out the exclusive show available on odds.com. It's only available on odds.com. Just hit the link to check it all out. We start on Thursday night, Bebsy. LA Chargers 4-9, 1-5 on the road at Las Vegas Raiders 7-6, 2-4 at home. We're at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's move over to our market and see what we are dealing with here. The Raiders open up at -3 at a -110. That's moved to 3.5. The total's gone from 54 to 53. Chargers coming off a 2017 home win over the Falcons. Chargers intercepted Matt Ryan 3 times, held Atlanta scoreless after halftime. Los Angeles came into the game with only 6 interceptions on the year, which was 5th fewest in the league. Herbert was 36 of 44 for 243 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 interception. Austin Eckler ran 15 times for 79 yards, caught 9 passes for 67 yards. He is a bang. His quad is hurting. He's been a non-participant in practice this week, but everybody expects him to go. For the second time in 3 weeks, the Chargers called a running play without any timeouts on 3rd and 1 from the Falcons' 8 with 22 seconds remaining in the first half. I don't know how the Chargers fans can handle it. I don't know how they can handle watching that. It's just an absolute disgrace. It's just, I mean, I guess my 3-year-old daughter's not capable of understanding the timeouts. But if she's 5 years old and she doesn't understand what's going on there, then I'm a failure as a parent. So I can't believe what Anthony Lynn's parents are thinking right now. Chargers have dropped 9 straight division games, including their past 3 to the Raiders. Los Angeles could be without 3 key offensive starters. Trey Turner, right guard Trey Turner, right tackle Brian Bulaga. They're both in concussion protocol. And Mike Williams left after the first series due to back issues. Keenan Allen has a hamstring problem. So him and tight end Hunter Henry has a lingering hip issue. Both were non-participants in practice. Nazir Adderley is questionable to play. Maybe you don't want him out there. I mean, the guy just gets burnt and burnt and burnt. I mean, he's bad. Cornerback Chris Harris Jr., linebacker Uchenna Nwosu, long snapper Cole Matza, running back Troy Maine Pope, linebacker Denzel Perryman, and wide receiver Joe Reed are all listed as questionable. Let's start with these Chargers, Bebsy. Did you like what you saw in that 2017 victory, and do you think they might have some value here as an underdog on the road on the Thursday night?
Listen, I like what I see from the players at times. I do not like what I see from Anthony Lynn. That debacle at the end of the first half, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you didn't get fired at halftime. I don't know how it wasn't just like he's walking into the tunnel and it was like, Anthony, just give me the playbook. Get out of the building, go away, take the rest of you, think about what you've done. That was disgraceful. That was just absolutely abysmal. So, no, I can't like what I see from the Chargers. There's a ton of talent on that team. There really is. They're staying close in games. They've won a couple of games in spite of Anthony Lynn. But, I mean, Justin Herbert's got to start getting frustrated. Even as a rookie, he's got to be looking over his head coach and be like, what a bonehead. Like, what an absolute moron. And, look, I was bullish on Adam Gase being the worst coach in the NFL, and I would still say that he is, but God damn, Anthony Lynn is close. So I can't have any faith in the Chargers, especially coming up against a Raiders team that is in a must-win situation if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive right now. So, injuries, coaching, lack of consistency, debacle after debacle. It's got to be – you got to take the Raiders here.
Well, let's talk more about these Las Vegas Raiders coming off disappointing 44-27 loss home to the Colts. That cost defensive coordinator Paul Guenther his job. Great call, Bebsy, on the double-up of the Colts. The fucking recency bias just reared its ugly head at me, and it doesn't matter how many times we talk about it. I mean, it's just involved in our subconscious, and both the Texans and the Colts. The Texans-Colts game really hurt me this past week after watching it 2 weeks ago. So he's being replaced with defensive line coach Rod Marinelli, whom you like, Bebsy.
Yeah, I think part of the reason why Dallas has been so bad is they don't have Marinelli as a defensive coordinator this year. Look, he's a good D coordinator. He's proven over time. He's had some bad teams, and he still managed to be a decent D coordinator. I like Rod.
I think he's better than decent. I really think he's good. I think he's top shelf. I think he's one of the best, and maybe I should pump the brakes, but I've always been extremely high on his defenses. So I think this is a nice spot, very nice spot that he has taken over. Indianapolis torched Vegas defense for 456 yards, 212 rushing, 244 passing. They had an average of 7.7 yards per play. Does just bringing in Marinelli change that?
Well, it takes a little while for a D coordinator to put a stamp on the defense, but they can't get worse, and I do think it improves it. He has not been a good head coach, and I almost feel like that negativity has stuck with him. And that's not entirely his fault. Some guys are not meant to be head coaches. Norv Turner was a good offensive coordinator. He was a horrendous head coach. Vic Fangio is not a good head coach. He's an incredible D coordinator. So, yeah, I like this move. I feel like Vegas should have done this earlier in the season. I know that some injuries have hurt their defense, but Rod Marinelli is going to make them better.
Dennis Garcia says they have 3 days to prepare. The defense isn't being fixed overnight.
No, I 100% agree. It's not. It can't change this weekend, but it's not going to get any worse.
No, I agree. Raiders allowed 200 or more yards rushing in consecutive games for just the 7th time in franchise history. They also struggled to get any pressure on Phillip Rivers. No sacks, 1 quarterback hit. They're 1-3 over their last 4. They've been outscored 150-95. They've allowed an average of 399 yards per contest. They went into Sunday allowing opposing offenses to end drives with a score 48.8% of the time. That's the worst in the league. And then Indianapolis put 7 of 9. 7 of 9 drives they scored on 77.7%. Derek Carr, 31-45 for 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The running game struggled. 22 carries for 79 yards. Josh Jacobs' ankle is a problem. It was a non-participant in practice today. 13 carries for 49 yards. I mean, they couldn't even get anything from Booker either. What do you think about the backing the Raiders or making a move on this total for the over if you can't get anything out of Josh Jacobs?
Well, I think if you're backing the Raiders, you're just backing the less worse team in reality. They're a borderline playoff team, which, I said this at the beginning of the year. Their defense would be a problem. And their offense really had to run through Jacobs, and you're seeing now them struggle because Jacobs obviously isn't healthy. You almost feel like they should have, hindsight is 2020. You should have rested him another week at least. But I still think this is a very much in-play Raiders. They need to win. The Chargers season is over. And as much as I don't have a ton of faith in Gruden, this John Gruden, because I don't know how much he evolved with the game of football, but I still think they're a good spot at home, short week against a Chargers team that's banged up and is coached by Anthony Lynn. So it's not a confident backing. I don't have to worry about it because I hate Thursday and I refuse to bet on Thursday. But if I was going to bet, that's, of course, who I would go to.
Raiders place wide receiver Henry Ruggs on the reserve COVID-19 list. He has to miss this week's game because he has to be on it there's a 5-day issue, and he was just put on it. Nelson Aguilar caught 5 passes for 100 yards. Darren Waller caught 7 passes for 75 yards. That was after his 200-yard receiving game. The Raiders put safety Jeff Heath on injured reserve before the game due to concussion. Defensive end Cleveland Farrell was ruled out after halftime with a shoulder injury. He is listed as questionable to go this week. Safety Jonathan Abram and linebacker Nicholas Morrow suffered concussions during Sunday's loss during concussion protocol. Offensive tackle Denzel Good, center Rodney Hudson, defensive tackle Maurice Hurst, guard Gabe Jackson, offensive tackle Sam Young, and cornerback Damon Arnett are all questionable to go this week. This is just a litany of injuries, and And I do not feel comfortable making a move here. I understand why this total has dropped from 54 to 53. They opened it very high. I imagine that the Sharps jumped all over it. Let me just quickly see where the cash is, because this is the one game where we might get an idea. The Sunday games we won't at this point get an idea of where. Let's just see if I can grab something here. So, Bebsie, this is a no move for you.
Well, it's Thursday, Jimmy, so it's always a no move for me. But if I was going to bet, I would certainly lean Raiders. I really think, especially, given the fact that Henry is out or battling an injury, so is Williams, so is Keenan Allen. That's the strength right now of this Chargers team, is the fact that Justin Herbert can gobble up yards. And I don't think they're going to be able to do that this week, even with the injured Raiders team.
But what do you think about this situation here? So we have a game where we have 71% of the cash on the over, 67% of the tickets on the over, and it's dropped a point. We have injuries to key members of the offense on both sides, and we have a new defensive coordinator that's come in. So the Raiders defense will be playing at as fast and hard as they possibly can, with as much intensity as they can, to keep their jobs. Does that not make you think maybe the under is in play?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit high on a Thursday to begin with. So, yeah, I mean, if you give me a free play on the over-under here, I would probably lean under. If I had to make a bet on the game, with Ruggs out, Waller having an off week this week, I think I'd probably look at Waller's receiving props this week. I think Carr's going to go back to the Waller well in this one, especially with a less than stellar Chargers defense that is also injured right now. So, there are looks in this game. I don't know. I don't love it, and I fucking hate Thursday night football.
Well,
but I agree with you, and I agree with your logic as to why the under would be in play. And especially, again, we've said this time and again, Thursday games, we should look up some stats on this, but Thursday games just end up being sloppy a lot of the time, and unders cash on Thursday.
And C-Mac says you have to watch the Raider defense, but this is going to be a Raider defense where everybody's maybe I shouldn't, it's not an extreme, but I should say they're playing for their jobs. But we all know, we've all played sports. We know what happens when there's fresh eyes that have power over your job or over your position on a team. You push a little harder. You care a little more. You're a little more accountable. And the Chargers are a team that leads me to think that they're going to – okay, so I'm moving on the under. I'm going to move on the under. It's 53 across the board right now.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, yes, it's a new offensive coordinator, but it's a guy who's been there all year. It's not like this is a new guy off the street. It's not like Rod Marinelli doesn't know what he has with these guys.
No, I agree. And I also think that the Waller and Aguilar props are live. Would you prefer, and they're not up at my book yet, would you prefer Waller over Aguilar?
I mean, just the fact that Waller's coming off a quiet week in a season where he was fantastic last year, but this year as well. I would prefer a Waller look, personally.
I agree. I think Waller props, and I'm on the under 53. That is your Thursday nighter.